So Arturo finally got both of his daughters back. And yeah, it is a miracle. And I'm sure that he's not going to question this miracle, even though his daughter's kind of been dead for 10 years. But what about the rest of the town? Hi guys, my name is Maria Park, and this is Approach the Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing Roswell, New Mexico, Season 2, Episode 4, entitled What If God Was One of Us? This was a really good episode. It was not as all over the place. Well, not really all over the place, but as involved as the last one. A lot happened very quickly in episode 3. Episode 4 kind of like explained or smoothed over what happened in the previous episode, but we did have a few revelations as well. The first thing we learned was that Nora, who is Michael's mother, and Louise, who is Max and Isabel's mother, is or was in a relationship with Foreman Boyd, who was the gentleman that they found in the previous one, who was the foreman over this farm, and he was worried about losing his job because the crops wouldn't grow, and they basically made the crops grow. So I don't know how much time had passed since that happened in episode 3 and now, but Louise and him were in a relationship, which I'm still theorizing that if it had been over like a year, 9 months, whatever, even a few months, she could have been pregnant with Maria's grandmother or whatever, because Maria did say in season 1 that her family was the only Black family in Roswell. So I'm just, even though his character ends up dying in the episode, which I'll get to in a second, I don't think that Louise is dead, so I think that she could have given birth to that baby. I don't know how it got out of the compound, but, you know. So, yeah, so we also learned that Alex's family is extremely dirty. Like, I feel like he's the only normal one in all of the Maine's family, because Trip is his uncle, or great uncle, whatever, and he looked like he was so like helping and understanding in episode 3. Well, in episode 4, his real main man color comes out, and he finds Nora and Louise and Mr. Boyd, and I think the little boy's name was Wade, or something like that. I don't know, but the little cute little boy, he finds them. And right before he goes in, to basically do what he's going to do, Nora hides the little boy, or tells him to hide in the barn. Well, unfortunately, Trip shoots Foreman Boyd, kills him, is dragging, Nora out, zapping her. Well, Nora's like saying, oh, there's somebody else inside, the boy, and they basically blow the barn up with the boy in it. That is messed up. So Alex has this like legacy of evil men in his family lineage. They're all just horrible people. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he was adopted. I'm just being real. But because of that, Alex finally gives Michael the piece of the console that he'd been holding, that we saw him in previous episodes put in his bag. And he explains that the reason that he's giving it to him is because he didn't want him to leave. But now that he's seen that his family is pretty much all crap, he doesn't want to follow that tradition of standing in his way of freedom, which I thought was awesome. And also very like sad and angsty. They are all about the angst with Michael and Alex, but same thing with Michael and Maria. I mean, he's getting it on both sides. But yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. We also met another member of the Long family. I think their last name is Long. Wyatt's brother, who is nothing like him. Wyatt is just like this evil, like redneck, racist piece of poop. And his brother's just like really nerdy and intelligent. And I think he's kind of into Michael. That's how it looked to me anyway. But the reason I'm saying that is he's also investigating the farm that Michael and Alex are investigating, because he believes that Nora and Louise were Nazis, and that Foreman Boyd was hiding them and giving them shelter because he was either in on it with the Nazis, or he was providing refuge for them. And that's what led to the barn being destroyed, is that it was a Nazi conspiracy, and that Roswell was built on, by Nazis, and everybody knows that. And so it's actually really interesting But out of that, they also got a final piece of the puzzle for the blueprints that Michael had, where he realized that his mother was building a ship. Like Louise and Nora were building a ship to get the children away from, Earth, because they probably realized where they crashed was not that great. Um, and so, yeah, with the final piece from Alex and in the blueprints, Michael has what he needs to try to, get up on out. So yeah, that was interesting. We also have, so Liz and Isabel are forming like this friendship that's very, very adorable. Like, I know that Liz saved Isabel's life in the last episode with the help of Rosa and of course Max, giving the message through Rosa. But Isabel is so grateful for this. She's even goes so far as to say, you're bringing my family together. You saved me. You're trying to save my brother. I want to bring yours together too. So she concocts this idea and this plan because Liz's father, Arturo, is so religious and he has so much guilt on what I think is the last time he ever spoke to Rosa, where she basically makes a statement of, well, most of the town thinks I'm not worth saving, and he kind of agrees with it. The guilt from that is eating him alive. And apparently he's been going to church even more every, Sunday to ask for forgiveness for what he did to his daughter. And because Isabel knows that, she tells Liz, I want to bring Rosa back and convince your father it's a miracle. And it does work. She does bring them back together, which is a very sweet thing. My question is this. Arturo was very accepting that his daughter, who has been dead for 10 years, has not only not aged, but it's a miraculous, rebirth or reincarnation or, whatever you want to call it, that, he's completely okay because he has his daughter back, which is fine. As a mother and you're grieving, I get that. But are they thinking about what's going to happen when Sheriff Valenti and, Wyatt and all these other people who think that Rosa is guilty of killing Wyatt's sister and her other friend are going to be like when they see her walking around town? Not saying that she is, because I don't know if Rosa being back in that life with her family means that she's able to still go outside. It may just be that she's able to be in the home with Liz, and the father knows she's there and they have like family meals and blah, 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 but she still has to stay in hiding. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm just really curious how that's supposed to play out, because they think she murdered these two girls. And the Long family despised all of the Ortegos because of that. So how is that going to play out now that the father knows and that Rosa is alive? How is that going to play out? Plus, Rosa basically self-diagnosed herself with bipolarism in a way. She said she has ups and downs and she has to use art to focus. And, she has very severe mood swings. And she had them prior to her death. So I don't know if somebody who has addiction issues and who is depressed like that and up and down like that is capable of staying in a cage. So I really am curious to how they're going to play that out. Cam finds out that her sister, or what she tells Alex's father, is that her sister, there's no record of her being in prison. Because remember, that's what he was using to blackmail her to spy on Max and them in the previous season. So the father reveals that it wasn't, that actually the sister had wanted to go to jail. That's why she leaked that she was stealing classified documents to her sister, knowing her sister, who basically was very patriotic and was playing by the book, was going to report her. And she wanted to go to jail. Well, she's out of jail, and he said that there are worse people, like the secret security people, that want her because she developed this genetic sequencing, I don't know if it's a device or technology or it's basically research that it sequences, and it can lock onto certain people or aliens or whatever's genetic code and take them out, but not take anybody else out in the crowd that they would be in, that have a different genetic sequencing, which is a bioweapon basically. And that's what he himself was interested in. He wanted to get that technology basically, to hunt down aliens, because the main men are really dirty. They're just nasty people. And so that has a whole other mystery for Cam. So that Cam is leaving town to go find her sister. Well, when she was leaving, the same bright lights that Mimi DeLuca, is that her name, Mimi? I really got to get that in my head because, I'm not sure, but we're going to say Maria's mom. That the same lights that she saw, Cam sees, and it looks like she's been abducted. Like her radio is messing up, her lights are messing up. She looks like she's immobile. It's not the same with Maria's mother because Maria didn't seem to struggle, and it's almost like she was used to it. But yeah, it looks like Cam was abducted. I don't know because they're making it so obvious that it looks like a UFO abduction. I don't know if it actually is. It could be like the Secret Service or the secret people, like military people or whoever's after her sister. They could have just kidnapped her. Or it actually could be, a rival alien race because they had one in OG. They had the skins. They had a rival, aliens in the book series. So suffice it to say, they have rival aliens in Roswell, New Mexico. So yeah, that is definitely a possibility, especially since we know that Max is the savior. What is he saving them from if not rival aliens? So yeah, I could see that. But yeah, so Cam is either abducted or kidnapped or gone. I don't know. Something happened, but she's gone. So now the parallel of Liz's relationship with Isabel is her declining relationship with Kyle. She needed to get basically a machine she ordered, another type of, I guess, genetic sequencing machine or whatever she had ordered, but it's in her lab that she no longer has access to because she doesn't work at the hospital anymore. She convinces Kyle to basically break into his boss's office to steal the keys to get into her old office to get the machine. And Kyle does it, but at the same time, he's feeling a lot of stress because his mother is just so, I think Max and Isabel did something to Noah. He's dealing with that. He's also dealing with this banter with his new boss's daughter, Steph, who I think is adorable, and who I also think may either be in medical school or could be a heart surgeon, and he doesn't realize it because she's always sitting in on open heart surgeries. And why would you do that if you were not interested in medicine? So that doesn't make any sense. And she did this prior to knowing him, so it wasn't to impress Kyle. But yeah, he does seem like he kind of is into her a little bit. And there's a scene where her and her father are going out to eat, and her father wants to get his hat. Well, Liz and Kyle, who are trying to steal the keys for Liz's old lab, are in the closet. And when Steph opens the closet, Liz is like kissing him to make it seem like they're making out. And so she just grabs the hat and closes the door. But I was like, okay, I felt bad for Kyle because number one, Kyle never said he was over Liz. And even when she says, oh, I thought that you didn't feel that way anymore, he's like, I don't know. Because when would he have time since learning that, Max and Isabel and Michael are aliens and all the crap that went down last season, when did he have time to work his feelings out? So in a way, and this is just me saying, it's kind of selfish on Liz's part because Liz is so Max focused that she's not thinking about how Kyle is feeling. And he even says, I'm risking my career, my medical license, my freedom, because I can go to jail, even his relationship with his mother to help her, putting everything on the line for her, but she's putting everything on the line for Max. And so he says, after we save Max, then I need space because I want to be your rock. I'm happy to be that person you lean on. I'm happy to basically sacrifice my whole life, but I'm never going to move on, unless I get space from you because you just see me as a brother. You see me as family. So I don't want to be there in that capacity. And I completely get that. I thought that was probably one of the most mature moments in this show. So I thought that was really interesting that they did that. So, but yeah, so it's so yin and yang. So like where her and Isabel had like a really bad relationship in season 1 and her and Kyle were like that and were practically sleeping with each other most of the season. Now it's her and Isabel that are like this and it's like Kyle is kind of declining. So yeah, it's interesting how that played out. Maria is still not talking. She's not, she wants space. So she does text Alex that she'll keep their secret, but she needs time. And I get it. I mean, the people that were the closest to you, your friends, the people you consider family have been lying to you. Like all of them, even your, I guess we can say boyfriend, they were starting a relationship, has been lying to your face, this entire time. Maria handled it a lot better than I think most people, especially in CW shows, would have handled it. So I give her kudos. I wish she had been in this episode, though. I hate when they have like big revelations and then that character is just not seen. That annoys me greatly. But I'm happy that she's at least taking some time to see where she stands with these people who did not bother telling her the truth, because that's basically what happened. So yeah, outside of that though, like there's so many like little parts of the episode, like little moments, like the thing like with Isabel and Rosa that kind of made me question like more the writing and like the repercussions of season 1. And only because if I was Rosa and Isabel came walking in the door, I would have flipped out, because this is the woman who strangled me. Even though I knew she was being controlled by Noah, it's like it's almost like a gut reaction, or like, you can't not have this response of trauma to somebody who strangled the life out of you, because no matter who was in your head, it was your face I was seeing, and your hands that were wrapped around my neck when I was dying. And it doesn't happen that way. Like, when Isabel comes in, the reason that Rosa throws the blender or whatever at her is because she thought somebody was breaking into the house. When she realized it was Isabel, and Isabel's like, oh, I'm sure that I'm freaking you out. Rosa's like, no, and then it's like, wow, they kind of brush over the moment, like in like 5 seconds, like all of this drama, all this buildup from the past, or past season, all the flashbacks, all of this, even their like romantic, like flirtations that Rosa did not, fight against when Isabel would look like she was into her. None of that was discussed. It was just like, oh, you don't think I'm going to kill you? You're not scared of me? Cool. So how about we help your dad? I was like, what? So I did have some issues with that. I think that's a problem that I have with a lot of CW shows, is that the writing, the inconsistency of the writing. And I know they change showrunners sometimes. I know they change writers. But it's just when you're telling a story and you want us to be involved and follow this journey with these characters, then you have to put it in a way that makes sense. And her response to Isabel coming into that house after not seeing her since she died, since she killed her basically, makes no sense to me. And that's just how I feel about that. But yeah, I like the episode. I'm hoping, honestly, that we get a little bit more kind of backstory between the foreman Boyd. I'm hoping his name is Boyd. I think it is. I've been calling him that. And Louise, Max and Isabel's mother, because I want to know how that developed. Because obviously they had to have been there for a few months, because it's not like they're just going to hook up in day 2. So I want to know how that occurred. And also, it was pretty brave, because New Mexico, Roswell, black man, a white woman, even if she was alien back in those days. I'm saying this from a place of a child who is the product of an interracial marriage, who my parents got married in the 60s when it wasn't even legal. That was brave. So kudos on that. But yeah, it was really, really interesting. I thought we definitely got a lot more, at least insight into what's happening, especially where the mains are concerned. I mean, they're just nasty. They're just nasty people. I really do think that Alex is adopted. If not, he needs to do like a 23andMe, 'cause something's going on. He didn't get the bad genes. He is not like them. But he could prove me wrong, because it is the CW. They may do a dark arc for Alex. He may be pushed too far. Something may happen and he may turn. But for the most part, right now, he's just very sweet. He's a very, I think noble guy. And I just think I hope they keep his character the way it is, because I really like him a lot. But yeah, that is pretty much what happened in Roswell. And for the most part, I'm excited for episode 5, but that is my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. So please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next in the nerd bell, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye guys. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.